In 2011, the Arizona Department of Education, First Things First, and other key early childhood partners were committed to the work of developing a KEA, or a kindergarten entrance assessment. While that was happening, Arizona had the opportunity to participate in a 10-state consortium being led by North Carolina to develop a K-3 Formative Assessment. This was exciting for Arizona because a K-3 Formative Assessment is not currently being used. We get data that's often snapshots of where children are on any given day at a given point in time. The K-3 Formative Assessment will allow us to gather data real time that gives us a picture of how children are progressing in their academic journey. This is essential for very young learners. As we know, they're continuing to develop. So if we're able to capture that as they're developing in order to inform instructional decisions, school-wide decisions, this would be such an advantage for Arizona's youngest learners.
A one-time assessment, like a summative assessment or third grade assessment, that really assesses students again at a point in time during the spring semester, might not be the true reflection of what a child can do.
This assessment is going to allow us to teach each individual to the best of their potential. We will be able to work with each individual child and really make sure that they progress to the most effective and most efficient manner possible.
Formative assessment totally is embedded in instruction, what teachers do on a daily basis, on a continuum. It helps them focus a bit more on these skills that students are expected to develop over time, and so it helps teachers also focus their attention on how they actually pull data or information about how their students perform.
Yes, perfect job. Pretty much in our district and in most districts, we look at the cognitive development of a child, but we don't look at things like their fine motor, their gross motor, how are they with conflict resolution or anything. And so this sort of encompasses everything about a child. So now I'm looking at a child as a whole child and being able to do assessments on all of those areas.
In doing the K-3 formative assessment, it wasn't something extra I had to do and I had to build into my daily routine. It was something that I normally would do. It was just helping me pinpoint exactly where my students are.
What I'm learning about the K-3 formative assessment is that there's a very specific means to documenting and providing feedback to the students and the parents about a student's performance. So it's not simply observing and jotting down a note. The observations are very specific, very tailored to a particular aspect of a child's development. And so having the means to effectively and efficiently document that information provides for a more true feedback system for the student, for the parent, and I see that as a really great advantage.
I can do a video on a child when they're working on something. I can take a picture of whatever they're doing. I can upload notes at that immediate time, or I can do it with typing in notes. With this, everything is in one place, so I can immediately go and pull out a report and look at any of my kids and see exactly what continuum they're on for every single construct.
So I really like that all the constructs are labeled in terms of what needs need to be met and where they should be at moving on to the next grade level, especially third grade. It's the last level of the K-3 program. So it really allows you as a teacher to step back and go, oh wow, this is what's going on with this child. She actually needs a lot more help in this area.
It's about how they interact with their peers. It's about how they solve problems. It's about how they deal with positive and negative emotion.
Now you can pinpoint what they need to provide them with the correct academic learning experience.
So it really helps me to plan individually for each child. It makes it so that each kid is getting more of what they need. It's more prescriptive and less just shot in the dark, let's throw it out there and see what sticks for everyone.
To simply associate a letter or a number to a child's growth and development doesn't really tell a student much as to where they are and where they need to get better, where they already excel, and it really doesn't tell a parent much of where their child is at. So having a system like this that identifies the whole child ensures that the feedback it's specific, it's relevant to the child's overall development. The more specific feedback we can give, the more they can be reflective and grow. And same with parents as well. The more specific feedback we can give parents, the more they can help at home. And I think it just closes that potential gap between school and home.
In having this assessment and talking with the parents, it's given a lot of opportunities to talk about their whole child.
I was recently talking to a kindergarten teacher, and she was talking to me about conferences that she's had with her children and parents this year. And she said they were the most effective conferences because she could give them specific data on their whole child. And one parent said, "Oh my gosh, I had never thought of my child in that way. I had never thought how he perseveres through a task."
Okay, let's take a look. Yep, scoot it close so you can count it.
I think if we don't have an assessment that looks at children completely, holistically, I think we continue to lose out on maximized opportunities for helping them reach their potential. When we concentrate on content areas, when we concentrate on what they know on one day, in one point in time, we lose out on what does this child really have to offer.
I think what students will miss out on if this isn't implemented is the opportunity for their teacher to take that step back and look at those different aspects of what makes them a learner, instead of just, can you multiply 5 times 5? Can you read this passage and then repeat these questions back to me with the correct answers?
It really gives us a great picture of how they learn, so that we as educators, as teachers, then can really build on their strengths as a learner, as well as start to garner support for some of the areas that they need to develop.
Wow, you've almost filled up your whole book.
Ultimately, we all want the same thing. We want these children to have lifelong success. If we can capture that early on and continue that as they continue in their academic journey, the likelihood of that happening increases. We lose out on those opportunities if we keep doing what we've always done.
When I think about principals or superintendents and how they support their teachers, this is really an opportunity to engage their teachers in work that will help them better understand their students. We spend so much time being so focused on how students will perform on a district assessment or a summative assessment, when really the priority should be helping teachers just focus on teaching and what's important so that students become a well-rounded student. And this will give them that opportunity to ensure that teachers are very focused on what the standards are, what constructs the students should be learning, and being able to demonstrate their progress over time.
Okay, so the words aren't going to be in there, so you're going to have to try your best to spell it. Our whole focus and our whole goal as teachers is to educate a child not only academically but also socially and emotionally, that we're their doorway to the real world. And instead of just forcing tests and looking at the student academically, that we need to look at them as little people and remember that that was the reason why we got into education.
We need to keep up with what's best for students. If we are truly about the whole child, we owe it to our children to take a look at a system such as this, which can help facilitate their overall growth.